Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are at part 8 of coloring Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, where last time we did a little bit, last bit of the valley, which was a little bit. It was these last 3 things, and we got a little head start on the colors, as in the brighter ones, because green is a color. But, you know, I already went ahead and picked a few colors, because there's just so many flowers. I mean, first I'm just gonna start, I think, in this corner, because this takes a lot of figuring out, which might actually be a reason to start there, because it would be time consuming. Now I had my chart, my swatches, and this little bit, you know, I'm kind of gonna have to find what it is, but I'm gonna go for mostly one color, and this will be the 470. Now, I haven't checked if I have anything like that on this list. I mean, it's mostly because it's like it's a yellow, but it's green. It's green, but it's yellow. And, well, the polys don't have that, which is okay, because I love this set for the greens just being so green. But, I mean, let's just see if it's like a Pablo only thing. I mean, if you would be using, say, the Castle Arts, then, well, I mean, I guess this color is kind of unique to it, but, you know, just try and find your, well, I guess, lightest green that is actually a yellow, or your yellow that is actually green. And actually, the pencil that is this, so, you know, that might actually give an idea of what I'll be using. I think that might be like the May Gray in the poly set. I just felt like I couldn't really figure out what yellow it was, so I'm just deciding to go for, well, a green, I guess, and it's like just that top right here. I'm just gonna see if I can sort of make it look like the reference, because I do feel like this is one of those parts where it is getting kind of hard, because I mean the colors are getting rather specific, so that could be a challenge. But if it wasn't a challenge, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. And I'm seeing that as a singular color over here, it does seem very light greeny. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, that might just mean that you could use your lightest green. Now, next to that, we had these flowers, for which I'm also diving into the Pablos, because I thought this is kind of what I'm looking for, the lime green. I do feel I might actually have to add a little bit of darker at the bottom. I'm just going to grab that 016 as well. Yeah, because there's like, it's like a bit bloppy. I was wondering how long it would take me to say bloppy, but this is just, it seems like a very randomized version, and there's also like a bit of purple going on right there. So there's like some sort of green in between, and it rhymes. And then so over here has got to be that purple-ish, right? This is tough, because so here we're going to go for dark green, but right at that bottom, we're just going to, I guess, do some parts with this, the 016. Just a few parts. I mean, it goes down all the way into, I'm going to say, those flowers, because these are going to be these oranges, and this is, well, kind of be that. And then I had these little plumes over here that were apparently going to be that, but I sort of went over that, which is why later on I kind of decided to do the flowers first. That way they would kind of be protected against whatever you're going to do with the background, which is why I am starting with the flowers. Because I felt like, that is just easier. Because you're kind of you're protecting the paper from whatever color you're putting into the background with the color you are, of course, using to color your flowers. I do have to say, these are some very lovely colors that I am very much missing in other sets. So I guess that again comes to that point where, you should, rather than just looking at what set don't I have, because that's probably going to be easy. There's a lot of different pencils and brands and types of pencils, and I guess you should more look at, what colors am I missing? Which is kind of how I ended up with the Pablos, because I was looking into, I guess I wanted to get more browns, different shades of brown. And I do feel like the Pablo set is missing some pinks, but then on the other hand, the polys, they have plenty of pinks. So, all right, now we have that orange, and I would say that the polys have more, but I never really use my Pablos for orange. I think just because I know that I can do with the polys, so that is why I'm choosing to go into these. Now there could be 3 colors in there, but I don't really have room for that, so I was going to go for that 060, which is not this one. Wait, was I going to use this? Oh, there's more. What? I've already put them like upside down into tins, and yes, this is it. It already has a decent point, that's good. And then apparently I had that 040 upside down, which does seem to be the right color, so we are good. The other is probably for that red over there. Well, what is it? That tiny red. So we have these two, and we're just gonna start. I mean, this is like way lower over here than it is over here, so it is gonna be a bit complicated. I'm just gonna ignore those purple ones because I feel like I can't get those in anyways. I'm gonna try to be coloring these as individuals, but I might need a even sharper point. So these points were long when I got them out, so that might trick you into thinking they are sharp, but this is a sharp point, so I don't know if you can really see that difference, but there definitely is a difference, and you will also notice that when you're coloring, you kind of need needles to color in here. And then probably tomorrow I will start by editing some more videos, because I feel like I'm getting behind on that. I somehow had that idea that I'm gonna upload like Tuesdays and Fridays, but then I don't know. I felt like because I just got started with this, well, right now anyways, I just really felt like I should get like the rest online, so that if people are actually coloring along, I mean, part of me feels silly about thinking that people would actually grab their book and their pencils and color along, because I mean, it's kind of It's kind of, I don't know, it's weird to think about that. And it is why I'm putting it out there, so that you can. But I am aware that, you know, the way that I do this is taking a long time. So, you know, you might get bored before we get anything done, really. All right. Did I get those oranges in there? No, not yet. Well, I didn't grab these for that. I definitely didn't. Because there's like some... Yeah. Because that's not... Yeah, I don't feel like that. That is more like that. I'm just going to grab those two and be okay with it. That will be... 066. I could just read on this paper. And then I would see it's not... Is it 066? Did I get... Is there a 66? There is no 66. Have I mentioned how I love that gold? It's 065. And maybe it was actually clear in the camera when I said it. I don't know, 065. And that 063. Which is the English red. Why am I can't find anything. Must have done something wrong when I put everything back. It's like chaos here. But I have found it. Still trying to find the ideal length for my points. But I do think that short is probably better. It feels like it's more fitting for fragile pencils. But somehow, I think, my theory is that if you keep that point a bit shorter, you probably might be wasting less of that core when sharpening. And that's one of the reasons why I got that, was it dull 133? But everyone was saying like it would save your core, but I never really liked the point. And when it says sharp point, I'm thinking this, you know, like you can probably scratch yourself with it if you're not careful. I haven't tried, not intentionally. I have, like I mentioned in a previous video, like you're kind of reaching over the table and you have like your pencils standing upright and you kind of just scratch through them. So that's definitely not on purpose. All right, so this is going to be like white because for some reason they wanted to add white. I don't know why. All right, that was bad. But see, this one I still did in the other setting like that 4. But we'll just see how it goes. Now that I was a bit disappointed that well, I hope I pronounce it right, but I think it would be the doll or dolly or whatever. That 133 table sharpener thingy. Because, you know, when you, like I mentioned, you know, if you say sharp point, I think it's really like sharp. I kept getting stuck in all these tiny corners and details, and I was thinking, you know, if the point was actually sharp, like true sharp, then I could get in there. Because I actually have people say, like, you know, if you give it a few turns on the back, you know, you don't have to put it to a full point, because, you know, it'll be sharp enough anyways. And I never got a truly sharp point. Not like this, anyways. So either mine is just broken, or I have a clear, different definition of the word sharp. Though I do have to say that with my new sharpener, which I'm still sort of like testing, because I got it yesterday, but you know, yesterday, it was also yesterday in the other video, so, because, you know, I usually do 2 in one go. but I'm coming from these very long points, and I'm kind of now shortening them, because I feel like in the, you know, for the long run, that would be, well, maybe cheaper, or just less destructive of the core. So, because I use that rotary one, you know, points are very long. All right, this is violet, which is, because I did have a clear reason for making a mess so that my arms are all over, and that's violet. So that is that 120, because I felt like there's a bit of a purpley going on. And it's right here. Just, I don't know, it feels purple. I don't know if that's making sense, but I feel, kind of feels like there's a purpley kind of glow. Now I'm seeing like a little hole in there, which I think I can sort of get in. I used the 180 of my polys, I think. I'm just gonna go in there with that 180 and then dull it out. I think I might have used cream for that. I mean, the ivory. They all name them different, don't they? But you know, I don't know if the names stay the same forever, so it's the 103. 103 ivory. Oh, that was bad. Yeah, I feel like I did that over there as well. It's a little bit darker, but that's okay. All right, back to the purple, because I feel like I should do a little bit. Well, as over here, I'll just do a little bit of purple, you know, these undefined corners of the blobs. Do blobs have corners? I mean, my blobs do. These blobs have corners. I'll just add them a little bit. Now at the top, I actually picked more of a green kind of blue. Yeah, it's kind of like at random, kind of whatever you feel is part of that floral arrangement. And then there's another one over there, which also has a little bit of purple, and I feel like it's the same blues, so I'm just gonna go into that as well. Might save a little bit of time. Or maybe it'll add time. We will find out. All right, and then I had night blue, which I feel is like my darkest blue. And I might not, I guess I'm gonna go for like a sort of medium pressure. Because looking at that reference, it doesn't go all the way. But this is also part of it. And if it wasn't, then, well, too bad. Now it is. These details are so insane. I was actually checking Facebook while I was taking a little break. And people do appreciate the effort, so. Because I posted like that final result. Well, final result. The result I had after part 6. I don't know, people do, you know, they do like that detail. So it's kind of nice, you know, that I've been frustrating myself over it, but people do in the end seem to like it. So I know I feel like something went right. So that blue kind of continues over here. feel like my mic is picking up all kinds of noises because it's kind of like connected at a weird spot. It's one of those clip-on kind of things. Because I have actually tried using, well, let's just call it that basic mic that is on the phone. That's just picking up everything in the room. And the room is very, very echoey. So, I don't know if I want that. Well, let's just see. My darker choice here was the 170. Alright, gotta fix that mic first though. Alright, this should be better. The 170 is that next one. This is the part where I said, you know, I was going to go into more, well, green kinds of blue. Or blue kinds of green. I don't know. So this will be that one. Because I figured that would be a nice color. And I have, is this part of that as well? Probably not. Nope, that would be what I was going to use there. I feel like, well, felt like this is kind of spot on. I needed it to be very sharp for this. And I might be going over this with something lighter. I feel like this is pretty spot on, actually. Yeah, this feels good. It feels like a good color. All I gotta do is just go down a little bit into that. Although in the reference, I do have to say that that transition from this lighter blue into the darker blue is kind of harsh as well. That's kind of nice. It doesn't all have to be like these fluent color transfers. I like it. It's kind of rough sometimes. Wow, that came out wrong. It's kind of nice when the transitions are a bit harsh every now and then. I'm kind of thinking, do I need something in between? But it just, I mean, that is kind of harsh. And this might be a little bit too dark, but let's just go over this and see if I can find a blue that will connect it all, because that could be helping as well. Not really seeing any blue dots over here on the reference, but I will have no idea what else to do with those little dots. I don't want to be fiddling with green in here too much either. But, you know, this is not like an exact copy. And this is just me talking about the lines. You know, the lines are not exactly copied, so can't really work with that anyways. Not the way I want. I do have to say, if the lines were an exact copy, it would probably be even harder to color. Because, I mean, now you're kind of forced to do your own thing here and there, which is good, because these things are hard. And, you know, if the lines are like an exact copy to that reference picture, it would be that it was so much harder to color. Because then you're going to try even harder to make it look like that painting. Alright, now last up is going to be that purple. Because I do feel like there's a suggestion of purple, especially on this side. Now the other side is going to be, I'm just going to start with that lighter one, I think. For all these little flowers. And I'll go slightly over that line. because I'm going to be coloring with a darker blue, and then I'm probably going to cross into that. So I'll probably be crossing over the lines. So if I just start with this a little over the lines, then I should be sort of keeping that inside of the line safe, but we'll see. And now we have like a little bit of purple going on here. Now I already have a color for that too, because I picked, what is this? This is the 100. So that will be that one. The purple violet, just the one, because it's a small area. It actually was just sharpened and hardly used, so that is what my rotary sharpener does. And this is the point that the other sharpener makes, so it's really a point. Oh yeah, that's really a point. Why did I try that? Oh, I was gentle. So there's going to be a little bit of green underneath. Quite a bit, actually. This kind of continues, and I'm just going to make this. Just going to go over that line, I guess, or near that line. And there's a little bit of a, I don't know, like a gap. Feels like they are suggesting that there's something there. Same as here. So, I mean, in that reference, that purple is kind of randomly blobbed in there as well. Hardly visible. I feel like further down is just green. But I'm just going to add that purple because it's definitely not orange. It's definitely not what they were going for, so I'll just add a little more purple. Just because we were lacking purple. I feel like this should be roughly it. It was just some randomness in here. Maybe that kind of creates the suggestion that there's purple flowers over there. Now the reason I did that first is I was pretty sure I'm just going to get confused with my blues. So we are back to the blues. And that one has like a purple suggestion in there as well. I feel like I can't really color this like individually like I did with those red flowers. I actually went petal to petal, but I can't seem to do that here. I do see some more circles that need bluing. Is that bluing? Of course I did sort of like a background of purple, but in that reference you can kind of see that those little flowers should be blue, like that really light kind of blue. So I'm going for that light kind of blue first, just to create those flowers. And a little bit there. That should roughly be it, right? Alright, so now we are back to that night blue. Well, I can move my reference. Yeah, I feel like it's almost impossible to get every detail in these little flowers. You don't want to. I mean, if you're like just watching and you don't have the book, then it'd be hard to imagine how tiny this is. But well, if you have the book, then I don't have to tell you what we are getting ourselves into here. I get why people try to simplify it for themselves and just decide that this is definitely a lot of work. But I also feel like those people are the same people that comment on my pictures wondering how I do it. Well, you gotta take a lot of time. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. So this is why I did those light blue areas first. I think I should go over this with a light blue in the end, because I also feel like I'm kind of numbing the blue, pushing it too far to the background. I mean, this does look interesting. Now maybe a really light one. So I got that 211, which is Jade Green. So I should be able to bring everything kind of to life, I hope. Because I mean, the lighter areas are going to be lighter, and well, the darker areas are just going to be less dark, and everything that I kind of missed should become very kind of bright. You know, that side doesn't really matter. I mean, coloring in the green now is going to be a challenge, but we aren't there yet. We still have... Oh, that bloppy seems like it could be part of that orange that I used earlier. I'm going to go for that darker one. Which is the 060. I'm not sure I want to grab... Well, I can't really get those in there, can I? Just going to go for this. See how it turns out. Just going to go with that 065, although I claim it was the 066 before. Earlier I combined this with a different color, but I feel like just switching it up every now and then. Alright, now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, well, yellow ones. It's hard to figure out which those are, so maybe I should start with that, well, with the white. Well, I feel like that's impossible. It's like adding that suggestion of white. So I actually feel like getting like a really gray, and then maybe the ash gray. I mean, that is already too dark, but I'm using that mouse gray because I feel like there's a tad of blue in that shadow. I mean, there's like a bit of a yeah, I'm gonna go for gray actually, and the difference is very small, but I'm probably gonna notice. I'm annoying like that. Alright, I think this is it. So that's that 005. Nice sharp point, and we're just gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna just add a little bit to every flower. Like very lightly. how do you color white when you are the type of person that wants to color everything on a page, including the white? I don't know how to color snow. A lot of people would probably say that's white too, but I feel like it's kind of not. Alright, so I could go overboard with the amount of kind of white flowers, but alright, I was gonna go for ash gray because it's like white but not white, because I think I have the option. Yeah, the ash gray looks better than the cream because the cream is too yellowy. So silver gray is too dark. Alright, so I'm just gonna go for the ash gray, just a little bit, and then probably I'll top it off with some white. But it already kind of looks okay, and I feel like in the end I should go over this with a Posca. I mean, normally I would do these lines with like that white ink, but alright, I have to go over that with white. I'm just gonna use the poly one, because I mean it's not really gonna white it out, but I don't know. It's just your brain is telling you it's white flowers, you gotta use white as well. Although in reality, I don't think you ever really use white to color something that's white. That's the fun of it. Alright, into that yellow. I don't know if I already pre-selected something for that. Probably did. Let me just find it. I probably went for a very yellowy yellow. Yes, I did. Which is the 020. Ooh, that's not very yellow. Is that? Yeah, I kind of like that. And I could go for that 010, but I just really feel like going more on that orangey side is better. And I'm going to use, because there's like a little dot in there. I'm just going to find flowers over here that I can dot. I feel like I'm going to put a dot in this. Put a dot in that. And then everything around it is kind of like collard green. The order is already way different, but just like little blobs. Alright. Now the yellow. I could probably add more flowers, but I feel like, you know, he only made 4 of these, so if I'm going to make 5, it's going to really show. Because, you know, there's only 4. I mean, no one's going to count the number of reds that I put there. Or maybe now that I said that no one's going to do it, someone's going to do it. But, well, you have your fun with that. Alright, now that is probably going to be the same color as I used earlier. Which is going to be that spring green, I'm quite sure. I might want to mix that though. I could maybe go for a lime and 221. That seems like it's making some sort of sense. So that is the lime. This is the other one, so you feel like nice colors. So like the outside of those things is going to be like that darker color. But I'm going to go for the bottom side because there's no real inside or outside to these things. I mean, if I just color like around that line, then the entire thing would be colored. that would be very counterproductive. It does have like these little swirlies going up, doesn't it? Because I'm seeing that in the picture as well. Those are like those swirls. Now I'm gonna need a color that I'm probably not gonna be using in the background. Although I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be doing the background with those polys again. So I'll just go for that 016 because I used it before and I did not mind it. So just, and then just hope that I'm gonna get away with that. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same. Which is something, you know, I keep telling you that, but I'm also kind of telling myself. I feel that might be like the hardest part of these coloring pages. That you just push yourself too much to make it the same. Well, that is just not really possible. Not for mere mortals, anyways. So. Let's just see how this turns out. Yeah, right now it kind of looks silly because the background isn't done yet. But I feel like if I do that background first, I'm going to have the same thing I had like over here where I was kind of going over things, and now I can't color them like flowers. Even though I do intend them to be flowers. And by the time the entire thing is finished, you wouldn't see it anymore. You know, unless you kind of like sit down and take your time. But I've already put quite a few hours into this. You know, if you have been following the color in chat / color along, and you know, you're quite a few hours in as well, and you know, either you're being as fiddly and perfectionist as I am and taking this long, you know, maybe you're way ahead of me, just waiting for me. Wait for me. Yeah. Oh, I'm on my way. I just feel like, you know, in the end, when you have all these little tiny bits and you just color them individually, you really take your time, then that in the end is that's what's gonna make your page stand out. I actually had someone scroll through like Instagram using hashtags that I like regularly use, just to see if they could find the pictures that I did, you know, the pages I colored, and they could without problem. So apparently it does add something unique to your pages. All right, there's more blue going on over there. Oh goody. So we're going back to that 170 just to start and giving that light touch. At least the bits that we surely want to color very light. And there's so much going on in these flowers. I feel like I'm making progress on the one hand, but on the other I feel like this too is just taking forever. But we do get quite a unique result if you actually really take your time. You know, a lot of people, I guess they just have like tricks to make it look like it's all individually colored. I cannot be bothered with tricks. I want to color these individually. I mean, on that blue, I didn't, because it's kind of going from dark to light in the picture as well. preview anyways. The preview picture. What's that? That looks like a leaf thing. Ah, I see. That's like that little thingy that they tried to recreate. I'm gonna add that violet, that 120 over here as well. Because I've been doing it at the other places as well. So I'm just gonna sort of be consistent, I guess. Alright, I'm just gonna go over that with that light blue again. Which is not literally what this is. This is the 170. And we actually have a light blue, I think. Oh, we're doing this set anyways. Let me just double check that. Not that everyone's like, light blue, we didn't get, yeah, we do actually have a light blue, which is not what I'm using. Alright. Now we had like a few little leaves up there. But I can see those two, and they're just green. Just simple green. Well, simple. They're fiddly enough. I could just do that other leaf as well, but I don't know. I like the color of this though. Is there anything else with that kind of shading? No? Good. Alright. Sort of tidy up. Or at least put everything back in its respective place. Now again, I'll just put them upside down so that if I do need them, just grab them. Alright, now I'm thinking for the green. One, we have these real dark spots. Now, for the green, I just prefer the polys. I prefer the polys. So, I usually go for that one. So I'm probably going to do that again to just, you know, create that dark. I had that, these two to create that little dark feel to the page. So I'm just going to do that again. I do have to say that at the bottom is real dark. I'm just going to start by doing those dark spots. Like I said, over here is really dark, so I'm just going to go straight in for medium pressure. Kind of go a little bit streaky over here so that I can do those grassy bits in front of it, like actual grassy bits. Yeah, as you can see, I am kind of pushing down on this quite a bit. So if you are very heavy-handed, then, you know, careful, because we're still going over this with another color. Oh, it would probably look good as just this, but nitpicky. Alright, now there seems to be a little bit of a, like it goes around, so I'm just going to create that sort of, and then just continue. It basically goes all the way up until here. So I can just kind of continue on with my weird streaky kinds of things. Streaky kinds of things, that's what they are. Now this is kind of like weird, but I'm just going to create like that. Is actually sort of expanding or whatever. I don't know, I feel like this makes sense. Now into that there's a little bit as well. And this again is me thinking, you know, I'm holding this anyway, so I just want to just look into where else I need it. Or where I feel like I need it. actually kind of agrees with me in the reference. I don't know if you can really see that reference. I keep trying to get everything in screen, but sometimes I just forget. Now that's okay if it's like very clear what something is. Although with this flower, that's fun because that's not a flower. That's just a green blob. So we'll go around that, and I see that there's a lot of dark going on here. There's a lot of darkness here. I do have to be careful not to go over those very light greens too much. Alright. I feel like I should just go do this little bit as well. This is definitely another one of those fiddly bits. It seems so easy, just like blop some colors down. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, in painting, you probably start with all this green stuff and then you kind of just tap your flowers over that. So, you know, Mr. Kinkade had it easy. You know, like he created some kind of painting that anyone could have made. I feel like I'm going over something, but oh well. Can't see it now. Alright, so this is like tree. Let's just sort of extend that. Does it go wide? I mean, it doesn't really, but... Alright, there's no dark here. There is like a little bit over here. So I'm going straight for that medium pressure. These points are like so sharp. Every now and then you kind of get like, it's not like a point, like part of it's kind of missing or something. It just breaks like an incomplete point. I feel like I got most of those dark spots in there, although over there I used it too, so I might just do those with that walnut. Alright, I feel like there's a little bit over here. I mean, that tree actually does continue, so we're just going to create that and then go dark over here so that we know that that is a tree. I feel like I should just create shadow at the bottom, so I'm just going to go for that. I'm not sure I want to do beyond this, so I'll kind of stick to this, I think. So I might actually sort of add this as well. Because I feel like that piece on the right just requires entirely different colors. Yeah, this part is more, I think color-wise, it's more like the tree than it is part of that. But you know, this kind of hilly thing, I'm gonna sort of add the shading to it. So at least the shading kind of continues. I don't know if I'm gonna go into the details on this side. Probably not, because it requires like the same colors that I'll be using in the tree, but it would be nice to already get that grayscaling in there. To have that sort of continue. Although on this side I don't feel like I have to. I could, but it kind of feels like it stops right at the bottom anyway. So even if I would continue, end up there. So I don't know, it doesn't feel important. It feels a bit silly to continue, but alright, what did I use for them? I think it was this upside down one, the 215 grayish green, because there's like little leaves in there too. I don't know why I didn't color those straight away, but because I just kind of decided to ignore them. You are not a flower. You are not worthy of my time. I don't know what this blob thing is about, but I'll just give it a little bit of that. A little bit of this, and a little bit of that. And now we're back into, well, I guess I like to call this just grayscaling, because it kind of gives you the best idea of where the shadow is going to be. And because we are going so dark, you know, I'm going to need that gray anyways. Well, this is not a gray, this is more like a, yeah, it's very dark brown meets gray. It's a fun color. Because it has little qualities of multiple pencils. If you go dark enough, you could even mistake it for black. So if used in like a proper way, like for shading and done right, like next to a color that would make it appear black, it could be used as the illusion of black, I guess. Alright, so this part is going to be semi-shadowy darky. Shadowy darky? Shadow darky. Alright, now for the rest, I feel like I should probably get rid of this. I am using that, all that. Why did I grab the, oh yeah, my pencil order is out of whack. Oh, that explains a thing or two. Alright, now, I don't know if I really want to go into, I was going to do this, because some parts, you need like shading, but not too much. As you can see right here, you know, this is definitely going to darken that color, but it is a different color than what I have been using up till now. And it's just for those areas where you kind of want to, well, you want to create shadow, but less shadow than what we've been doing so far. Over here, I mean, this doesn't resemble what's going over there. It's just so different. So I'm just gonna sort of make it dark, I think. Kind of see if I can make this kind of flow from what we've done earlier. And just see if we can make a very dark kind of green. I can only go so far because I feel like this is where the tree starts. So should probably start like at this point. To just give it a little brown so I remember. Because everything on that side I should probably not do except for this bit right here. We have a little bit of darkness going on in the front here as well. This is, I don't want to get caught in all those little tiny details here that are so light green. But I feel like because they are already colored in that light green, I feel like that's like a protective layer or something. more than when it would be empty. If there would still be white, it would probably be easier to kind of rub this walnut brown in there. But now that it already has like a color in there that I already burnished in, I mean, that is, I guess, the advantage. You know, at some point you're done coloring. You know, the paper just won't take more, which is why I'm coloring that first, so that hopefully the tooth of the paper is like so bad that it won't take more. I mean, now I'm actually going over it, and you know, it's still sort of the right color. I was kind of afraid to do that, but I wanted to sort of test my theory. Because if you keep going over it, if you're actually convinced that you can go over it, that's the part where it will kind of go weird. This is also the part where it looks all kinds of yucky. And it looks like it's never going to be okay anymore. Oh my god, we're adding brown, we're adding almost black. Alright, so some dark spot over here in the front as well. Which is actually a very dark spot, so I probably should have gone for the other one, but I feel like I will get away with it. Maybe just a little bit. I'm just gonna figure out where I want to go lighter. Because at some point the brown has to stop. I mean, as light as I'm going right now, there's no way the green is not going to cover that. So just to create that even flow, I guess. No. Alright, back to that 175. Here we are really at the point where it seems like I'm just making one enormous mess. I kind of am. I guess I'm right now making the mess so that I can fix it later. Guess I'm going for a light pressure. Light to medium. I know this paper is a bit impossible. So I can already feel how the paper is disagreeing with me right now. But, you know, I needed to go dark. I need a very dark kind of green, so that's what I'll be going for. I mean, it's almost black, isn't it? I actually need a little bit of that over here as well. I mean, there's like these pieces of grass going up, but I can just ignore those. Alright, over there we had most of it done as well. There's a little bit going up right there, but you know, if I just go behind that blue just a little bit, it's going to create that shadow, I hope. That'll bring that blue one to the front. I mean, over here I can't really do that. Over here I maybe can. Oh, that's fiddly. So I need that point to be really pointy. Guess it's going to be subtle. Alright, now we are definitely going into the greens, because it kind of just feels like we colored all these flowers and then went in there to completely destroy it. I'm probably going to need just the browns, the greens, the green browns. That I feel like we should just start with. I love this. That 266 is probably my favorite. The best kind of green that is in there. Now we're going to use my new, very sturdy pencil extender. But I'll make it work. Yes, I will make it work. Alright, we were going underneath that kind of orange stuff that's going on. That's right here. So basically we'll be coloring from the top down. See, now isn't this a fun green? This is just fun green. I don't know, for some reason I really love this color of green. It's one of those very bright and pure greens. I don't know, I like it. It's one of those pencils that when you swatch it, you just become so happy. It's like everything you ever wanted and more. Alright, I should stop. I probably do want to add some color that will connect it back to that. I mean, there's a difference, but I do want to connect it, and that's probably going to work by using that green olive. Because, I mean, basically this is like a million colors just layered on top of each other. So. And I feel like once we go down, it kind of becomes, greens become less complicated. I feel like these two are the majority of what I'll be needing in here. I will be seeing if I can do something with those, well, the tips. No, it's the tips. They are the tips of the plant thingies. Yes, the plant tips. Plant tips. We can do that. Alright. I could continue because I kind of feel like it is the same plant, but let me just get that one. Is it May Green, the 170? To kind of create that light, that bright top. Because I feel we gotta go into bright at some point. I feel like I could still add a little bit of that in here as well. Now this feels like it's okay. Yeah, it's bright. All right, now also going to be using, because we're going like down, so we need like a darker version. We only needed the greens. So I think a darker version of that would almost be either juniper or the pine. Now, I usually use the pine because I think, I don't know, maybe that 159 is not good. No, I'm going to go for, I feel the 267, so the pine, which is not necessarily because on paper that looks like the best combo. On the swatches, this doesn't look like a logical choice, but I've just been like coloring with greens before, and I feel like these two go, well, they do go together rather well. And we were kind of at the point of no return it doesn't quite match anyways. Because it doesn't quite match. It stopped quite matching when we started doing the castle, so I feel like it's better to just be consistent in the mismatch than all of a sudden going back to everything matching, because that would look weird too. Because, you know, not everything in my version is matching with what's going on there. The lines aren't. The coloring therefore isn't. And, well, I couldn't get all the colors right either. So I just feel that you should then be consistently using the wrong colors. This is like a color family. I mean, his version has a certain tone to it, and I kind of went for something different. So I guess what I'm saying is you gotta hold on to whatever you got started, whatever kind of mood. The mood you said, yeah, that actually sounds more explanatory. I mean, you are setting a certain mood. Now, I do feel, because I went into this 278 a lot, that I might want to sneak that in here as well. Maybe just start coloring those dark bits. Other than that, I don't really have a use for it, because I don't want to go too dark. And this really is the darkest green I think I have. I haven't checked my Castle Arts though. There might actually be darker greens, but I do appreciate this one. Yeah, Castle Arts does have dark ones. Yeah, I'm thinking. They have them too. You know. That is what I said, you know, you kind of have to just compare the colors to that reference and see where it takes you. Alright, well, I'm actually going up to down, which is like from all the dark, yeah, from light to dark is what I'm doing now, but I prefer going from dark to light, which is kind of why I jumped back to the bottom. Though I do feel like this isn't even dark enough, not for this spot anyways. I feel like I could go darker. I feel like I shouldn't though. You know, I could, but I don't have to. Oh, I do love that point though. I love that killer point, and I can just create. And I'm calling it a killer point, but it might just be. I'm just gonna move that page a little because I'm not really keeping an eye on like the camera and the camera screen. I noticed that I think it was part 1 mostly where I was still in like a 1:1 setting. So that was a square kind of screen. That just wasn't exactly practical. It was just little bits of the beam, but still felt kind of silly. Like I was gonna do everything on screen. That's what I said anyways. And yeah, in the first few minutes, in like the first part, I'm already off screen. Improvising off screen. I guess that's because, you know, I'm definitely doing this like all by my lonesome. Which is the fun about this too, you know, you don't need anyone. You need your pencils and your dwarfs. Meet my dwarfs. Alright, now that leaves, I'm gonna go for a darker color. That is that 137. And I'm gonna try and bright that up with that 170. Was it 137 or 173? This was 173 and not 137. No. Details. Yeah, see, now this is what I was looking for. Lucky. Now on this part, I noticed that I just find it easier to create shadows with that darker color, which is that 175. I find it easier to create, well, I don't call it shadows, it's more like that life in the shadows, you know, that it's a little bit darker over here, and then it's lighter over there, and might as well just do that straight away. And then come in with that green. And hope that it works, because I'm not sure that it will, but I feel like it could. I kind of feel like there's no reason why it shouldn't work. So I'm very hopeful that it will. No, I do have to say you probably need like a very sharp point to do this. I have noticed that those rotary sharpeners, they just kind of, they can't. And they create a long point, but compared to this, it's definitely not a sharp point. Not the one I have, though. But it might just be that maybe I had like a bat version. Could be. Like a factory flaw. But in all honesty, I don't really get the hype. But I like detailed coloring, so I guess that might be it too. You know, most people, this is not a book that most people prefer, I think. Or not the ones in the color groups, or I don't know what it is, but just depending on what your favorite pencils are, you also kind of pick your books. And I just noticed that you can, because these pencils are so, like, they're hard pencils, so you can really get into details, and I love that. But, you know, maybe if I had a different brand of pencils, I would never have come to love the details, because my pencils wouldn't allow me to color them. Could be a thing. I don't know. Maybe I prefer details because my pencils are just ideal for it. And maybe other people dislike the details because their pencils are just, you know, not quite designed for that. Because if you do have those softer pencils, which actually the Castle Arts kind of are as well, they are softer pencils compared to the Polys and the Pablos. But a lot of pencils are actually soft compared to the Polys and the Pablos. These are some of the harder ones. And I, by far, haven't tested everything, but I did have very, very, very cheap pencils. They were definitely even harder than these. But, you know, not only were they like physically harder, they were also harder to color with. So, alright, there is like, there's gotta be a line, right? Gotta draw a line somewhere. Because I just keep going with that dark color. No, but I really need like a pointy point. I really do. Because there's no way I could be doing this if my pencils didn't come with a very sharp point. Never get into all these nooks and crannies. So maybe these pencils shaped my preference. Who knows? The pencils make me do it. Well, I do hope that, you know, when we're done with all this fiddling, that it will slowly start to look good. Well, yeah, it sort of does. You know, there's like some form of, yeah, we are defining the lines already a bit. I feel like I could just go over that, but I don't want to do that too many times. Because, you know, at some point we are going to ruin what's underneath. That's not what I want. And I did put that first layer in there for a reason. That base layer, well, first, it wasn't the first layer, but I colored that green already just to protect it more or less. And I guess with like gel pens and everything, you can kind of go back. I generally don't use gel pens. I've used them for highlights, but not like one of those jelly roll things, but it just wasn't as delightful as my paint markers. So I guess that's another thing that's a preference for everyone. Maybe that is the beauty of coloring. I see some people like, oh my god, this is amazing, and then someone else tries it and is like, what? And that is the fun of it. Alright, so now we're going into that pine green again. Was this the pine green? This is the pine green. Alright, now this right here is going to be like a bright kind of green. So we have my favorite green, which is actually, I'm just going to use that as like shadow. It's going to be my shadow color here. And sort of, anyways. So I'll be using this to create that sense of shading. And this is supposedly the same color. I'll just, while I'm here, I'll just see if I can go over that a little bit. And then I had, I think that 112, I think. This new is this one. That, the 171. Well, that's okay too, that very light one. So, just got that 112 as well. And I do seem kind of close. So I'm just going to go in with that 112 a little bit. Just go lightly, because I feel like that 171 is such a screamy kind of green. It's like too much. It's too much green. It's like maybe too light. Whoa. That is a bit of toxic green, isn't it? I'm just going to continue, and I'll add some other greens on top. I have noticed you can kind of do that. I mean, it's more like a marker thing, but you can also do that with your colored pencils. I feel like I've been creating a bit of too much line work, like too much. It was okay to kind of make it look grassy, but this was too much grassiness. So I'm just gonna grab 167 and just go over that a little bit, just to get that toxic green feel out of it. It will still be green, but it'll be, well, less screamy? Screamy. Is that a word? Yeah, well. Alright, so we're going into that background stuff now. I'm just going to see what this does. Yeah, well, it doesn't really, yeah. Well, I mean, I could just use it. It's not like it's not working. It's not like it's ruining it, so. I mean, in the end, that is one of the beautiful things about coloring, well, plants, vegetation, whatever. Yeah, it's green. Doesn't matter what green. It's just green on top of green on top of green. So, I'm not sure you can really grab the wrong color. I'm not sure such a thing even exists. Because it's just green on top of green on top of green. And this is a very screamy green. But over there, I kind of went over it with something else, so I'll just do that again. I mean, this is going to be the site where the sun is going to be. But, you know, not actually going into that darker color. It kind of brings that to life as well. And if you're coloring like spring pictures and flowers, then these greens are amazing. And it does make it look like it's more sunny over here than it is on top of the hill. It's because dwarfs, they sing, right? Nice weather and the sun is attracted to singing. Or, I don't know. You want all the forest animals to come visit you, you sing. You want forest animals to clean for you, you sing. Whatever you do, just sing and stuff happens. Now again, you know, it's been a while since I watched it, because it actually mentioned the movie coming out when I was younger, which does sound impossible. But I actually spent some time on Google, and I was sort of right, because they came out on like VHS. Is that like a universal thing as well? Or... Anyways, videotape. That's when it came out. That was all the rage back then, you know. You had a VCR at home. You could watch your videotapes. Get all the hits from the neighborhood. And all that stuff is called vintage. And you can actually, like, you might even be able to record things that have already been on television. Back in the day, you actually had to time that just right. And then, you know, when there was some sort of delay on the program, you know, you had to run to the television, well, the video recorder, anyways, and quickly fix it. But, you know, I remembered them coming out when I was younger. And I guess in a way I was right, because they did come out on videotape. That was like a new thing, because I remember seeing like commercials, new, or now available, or whatever. Because I don't remember the version that I watched sounding all that old either. I actually watched it in English. I don't know, it just somehow sounds like it was from way back. And Google tells you that's because it is. It is from way back. But, you know, not the time when they actually came out for you to buy and bring home. That was indeed later. And I think for Snow White, I think that came out, well, I looked on the internet. I think it says something about halfway through the 90s, so And that's also probably the last time I saw it. So I hope I'm forgiven for not really knowing much about it anymore. I guess the things that I do know are like these general things that you're kind of supposed to know. It's just these days it's probably not done that, you know, in these movies all the stepmoms, they seem to be evil. It's like a reoccurring thing. It's always a stepmom. It's always evil. And nowadays, and rightfully so, they just kind of disagree with that. That's just a bad statement. Because in some cases, or maybe even a lot of cases, I mean, well, some cases the stepmom is a better mom than the real mom. And probably in a lot of cases, your stepmom is just as fun as your first mom, your biological mom, I don't know, the other mom, the OG. So yeah, I understand why they kind of, there's a bit of resistance against that. Well, I think we actually had Snow White and the Little People over here. That was a thing too. Like, what? Snow White and the Little People? There's something wrong with dwarves. And looking at them, they're just different creatures. So they are not offensive, are they? We live in a time where people get offended by everything and anything. Kind of makes you very aware of what you say. Kind of goes for me too, you know. I'm trying to do my color and chat, and you kind of just want it to be for everyone, but somehow I feel like you're always, at some point, you're always going to say something that people find offensive. And, or you just say something that you kind of didn't mean that way, or you weren't aware that you said it, or you weren't aware that you misspoke, because that can happen. And do keep in mind, I am not English, so I might just say weird things in English, because, you know, stuff might actually get lost in translation. And generally speaking, I think I'm doing pretty good, but I feel like this side is close to done. And I've actually gone into that 173, that dark olive color kind of color. Right? I do want to go over those lighter bits just one more time, because I feel like I can just do that a little better right now. It's just like they had a protective coat. So, I mean, that does look the way it should, sort of. Right now we have that thing, which is basically made up out of all the same colors, just slightly different. So if that is not helping anyone, I'm just going to grab that. I think I should go for that umber again, the walnut. I never had the umber here. Why do I keep calling it umber? And so I already have like that dark in there, but I feel like I should add more. Alright, now that's that pine green. I'm just going to name that the dark one. So just pine. Because that pine green is, it's kind of dark. It's not dark. It's like light and dark at the same time. Although over here we did not really use any of those browns, so we are gonna, well, we did a little bit over here with the walnut, but other than that, not really. Because I do feel it should stand out. There really is no flower here. There just isn't. Kind of looks like it. So I guess, you know, if you're tempted to color it as a flower, then you definitely should. Just wouldn't know what color it would be though, because I looked at that the first time and thought that's a flower, but it just isn't. Alright, we got that 159 just to see what it does. Because I feel like it's kind of, well, this is like a green that's on the blue side, but it still is on the green side, if that makes any sense. So you have like the blue greens and the green blues, and yeah, that doesn't clarify, does it? It's like a, I guess I'm trying to say that it's like a green with just a dash of blue, rather than a green that almost looks blue. So that makes it look like an actual plant. You know, making it stand out a little bit. And just going lightly now. I'm thinking about what kind of color I'm just going to wash over that. Because I'm thinking one final color would be enough. And I might just go back into that 167. I mean, comparing it, it's not quite there, but neither is the rest of this side. I mean, I felt like I actually was doing those support beams a little bit off. But wow, that valley, that castle, the sky, yeah, everything is off now. Alright, so this is kind of nice. I could go into that, or I can actually sort of continue this, because I feel like this kind of is still part of it, but I don't know. I feel, yeah, you know, I'm gonna continue because I feel like I have time for that. I believe I do. I mean, basically, it's gonna be really dark greens and won't be a lot going on in there. Right now, that side I am kind of leave alone. Just gonna sort of wash it into there, I think. I mean, this kind of stops right there. So maybe I could just make this stop at some point as well. I don't know, like right here. I know that way I can just leave this side. Because I feel like I should not be touching too much of this, because, you know, on the reference it kind of looks like it's going into the trees color-wise. So I'm just kind of fading this into here. And I'll still know what colors I used, probably, hopefully. I mean, that really dark one that keeps coming back anyways. Seems to be my go-to dark green. I think I'm just headbutting my camera. Well, I don't think I actually knew. It's just, I'm not sure it's actually showing up. Hopefully not. Alright, now I went over that with with that olive green yellowish. And normally I'm the one who's adding ish to everything, but this time it was done for me. Like someone like me who's going for the colors. This kind of yellowish. I figured, why not? That sounds like a name for a pencil. Olive green, yellowish. The only thing that's missing is a question mark at the back. Alright. I sort of stop it right here and try to remember what I did. I mean, it's either that or kind of continue and having to. Yeah, I'm not going into those trees. I'm just not. I mean, I don't have time for that. I feel like I don't have time for that anyways. And even if I wanted to. I just want to get the green stuff done. Yeah, as long as we remember what we used, shouldn't get into trouble. So I'm just going to sort of go up there. And kind of just lightly, I guess. Yeah. Wow, that was not light. That was like non-existent. I'll create like a light color kind of suggestion here. Yeah, it does look okay to me. Just gonna move some things around. Alright, now over here, the greens are kinda, I feel, they are on the more blue side, although they are not. I'll actually get that in the same screen right now. I feel like that's better for coloring. I can just kind of show what I'm doing over here. Because I feel like, I should probably go dark, but I'm going to start with that juniper and just see how that looks. Because I feel like it's okay if this side looks different than the other side. That's the way plants are, they are not identical. That might just add that little bit of life to this. If I just kind of play around with the colors a bit. It does look okay. Gotta get that darker color back though, because up there we definitely use that. So this is kind of like the way to make it flow into each other. Definitely use that olive yellowish thing. I'm just gonna go into there as well. I do feel like I'm gonna need a color that I haven't used yet. I'm going into 159, which I have used by the way. I'm gonna grab a color in a bit because I feel like I need it. I'm gonna have to go way darker in here. What if I just kind of go lightly, see where that takes me? Because I feel like I should have added more of like purples but I didn't want to go all out with that either. So just gonna sort of double check. Alright, so we used I think it was the 100. I'm just gonna, now that it's still lightly colored, I can still go over that because I feel like I'm in need of more purple here. So I'm just gonna add it while I still can before I'm blopping down the rest of my greens. Might be like a little bit of overkill now, but I just didn't have enough greens. Alright, now we're going to create some dark spots with that very dark green. Is that oxide green? Chrome, oxide, and the 278. Yeah, I really I want to avoid the names because it wouldn't be the first time they change names. And I haven't actively seen that, but I am aware of it because when I was ordering, I think it actually said with a few colors with the numbers, and that was the name, and then it said like, you know, previously known as. So I guess it's a thing for them to just change the name, which is why I definitely want to be naming, well, the codes that are on there. On top of that, you know, there's just so many things that I probably can't pronounce anyway. And some things are just annoying because you have like a warm gray 1 and a warm gray 2, and I think that goes all the way up to like 5 or 6. So you know the chances of just saying that you're working with the warm gray, I don't know what number, and then turns out you were not using that. I just want to avoid that. Because I feel like, you know, I probably misread half the time. Alright, now I was actually kind of looking into here, like that rock has like a certain green glow to it. And over here I feel like that glow is kind of returning. So I'm just going to add that. Maybe just here at the top, just between the flowers. I'll also kind of push the flowers back anyway. Some a foggy feeling. And then I should probably go for that juniper to kind of give it that final layer. I should probably just go kind of bloppy. Careful blobs. Carefully blopping. What? That's the point where I'm running out of things to say. So, alright, I was not trying to grab that. I was trying to grab this. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should grab that too, but I feel like it wouldn't make much of a difference anyways. Just feel my point kind of snap. No idea where it went. I should definitely look into getting me a chair. At least a chair that comes with settings like loud or silent. Or airplane mode. That would be something. Airplane mode on the chair. I don't know how old this chair is. I can sit on it. I can color. And if I want to get nauseous, I'll just spin it around real quick. It's a chair. I don't think it was ever sort of bought with the intent to be comfortable. I think it was just bought with the idea like, I need something to sit on quickly. Alright, that looks promising. Now I'm going to go into that 167. And then we are probably getting, you know, close to that point where we wrap things up a little bit. So, you know, if you're not coloring along, this might be a good time to click subscribe. turn on your notifications, because there will be a next part. If it's up to me, there will be a next part. I mean, if for some reason, of course, something weird happens, then there will not be a next part, but I don't know, I feel like there's going to be a next part, if I can help it. I did say that I was going to do the entire thing, and so far, even though we are in, what was it, part 8? Well, we're already kind of taking quite a long time, but I feel like this is actually the point where I'm kind of seeing results, so that's definitely nice. Because you want to see results. I mean, part 1 was frustrating because I spent like more than an hour on a beam, I think, and then it still wasn't done. But I mean, now it kind of starting to all come together. And I feel like I need to still go over that with that lighter one, just to... See, now it does look more detailed. Because I did all those, I did like most of the flowers like one by one, especially those. So, it does look like there's some detail in there. That's what we're going for. And I'm just going to grab that pine green and see if I can just create different areas, I guess. I feel like those flowers at the top, they need, different, have a different kind of base than the rest. Oh yeah, I forget people to also click that like button. If you're just here to watch, you get time. I'm trying. I do feel like it actually encourages, I mean, people might hate it, people might like it, but right now I just don't know. And like on Facebook, I do get responses there, so I'm kind of used to being there. But whenever you get like a compliment, or I'm fine with people asking questions there too. I don't know, it does kind of motivate. So comments, I am open for feedback. I wouldn't mind getting feedback. Be gentle. I think we call that constructive criticism. That would be probably the right terminology for it. I do feel like that is done. And I was thinking about maybe adding some white to that, but it's really fiddly. And I feel like if I'm gonna be blopping white on there, then I'm probably losing like the entire flower. Another problem is, these do tend to get a little bit clogged from like that paper gravel stuff. This is like so detailed. I feel like I'm ruining it. I don't know, there's a trick for that as well. But let's just see if we're gonna need it first. Might not look too bad. See, this is kind of the part where I'm questioning, should I really have done this? Probably not. Alright, now the greens are all pretty much done. And Posca really was a bad idea. So I'm just gonna, because this kind of also shows why I don't like the Posca. You can just get rid of it. Just scratch it off. And this kind of does affect the lines a little bit. Yeah, right now I do have weird bloppiness with white in there. So let's just see. Yeah, you know. Now we have a weird bloppy area. You know, I just go over that with my white a bit more. And, you know, I think I saved it. Well, I think that looks good. So basically what I did was just wait for it to dry and scratch it off. Make sure you do kind of get rid of that, because that's going to leave a mark. But look, that does look more, I mean, those were so fiddly, it took forever. But, you know, that valley kind of, it looks very complete, very floral. No, I do feel like that side is maybe a bit brighter, but I'm good. So for the next time, I do think we should just continue finishing this section. I mean, I'm so tempted to get to these dwarfs because they are so cute. You know, but, you know, get that part done. And I still have, like, the colors that I used, so I'm just gonna grab those because that was, like, a chrome. We used a little pine. We used a bit of, what is this? That the one that I keep mispronouncing, 173 and 167, top of my head. Yay! So these we definitely used, and the 266, because those are definitely going to be used over there. And then I have like the May Green, which is 170. I have that too, so I think we might be using that for that. So I'm just putting those to the side, and I'm just letting, you know, so that, you know, I mean, you can just, like I do, I just put those like upside down in their trays, so then I know what I was using. So yeah, I'm thinking that for the next time, I'm gonna go for, well, I guess the tree and that background, because the way I did it right there, I do feel like that's the way to go. Though I still have to sort of merge this part into that. But it feels like the trees are going to be mostly light greens. And it's not too many different colors either. But, well, I mean, you can go crazy on the tree too, I guess. And I mean, this is not a lot smaller than, I mean, I just did this little tiny bit, so this is probably it's gonna take a while, but that's okay. I mean, so far, I mean, I am happy with it. You know, while I'll be coloring the trees, and I might just be double checking my shading here and there, because I mean, that valley is kind of coming together. I feel like I should push that castle into the background though, but I am a little scared of doing that, because I can do that with my pit pen, but I'm just not going to do that right now. What I am going to do right now is, once again, you know, we're going to do this part for the next. So this will be for the, we have the trees to look forward to. So for now, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you might have picked up a thing or two. It would be nice if you learned something as well. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. You know, if you want to leave a comment, do drop a comment below. You know, be gentle. also turn on the notifications because you never know when the next one's coming up. Thank you very much for watching. And, well, for now, I guess that means have a good one.